This is episode 006. Welcome, fellow anglers, to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I am Captain Ryan Van Fleet, your host here in the Florida Keys. Each week, I bring you fishing tips, interviews, gear reviews, and more to help you maximize your fishing trip, catch big fish, and overall have fun. In this episode, I want to chat about some products that I've found on social media, mainly Instagram. I actually have some experience promoting a product on Instagram, believe it or not. 3 years ago, my wife and I imported vertical jigs called Jimmy Jigs into the U.S. from Mexico. Now, it was a great experience. We learned a lot, but unfortunately, we had to shut the business down because Jimmy Jigs was going to compete against us with his website. In addition, there were just a lot of issues and challenges that we had to deal with importing lead from Mexico. So it got to be a hassle. So, and just a bit too much to deal with as a side hustle distributor business. So it wasn't worth it anymore. So we just shut the business down. I had worked very hard, and I built a social media campaign for Jimmy Jigs USA. I used Instagram to build the business quickly. I had over 1,000 organic, authentic, not paid followers within a year. Now, my wife did an awesome job selling the product to the bait and tackle stores as well. We both met some great people along the way, but to be honest, some were not so great. It was definitely a learning for both of us. I was amazed at the amount of phone calls and emails I would get from anglers asking for complete full sponsorships and free jigs. These guys didn't even know how to jig, nor did they own a jigging rod. You know, we spent a lot of money and time vetting out some of these anglers, sending them product and trying to get photos. I could write a book about the various scenarios, including the TV shows and magazines we sent product to and tried to work with that never followed through. After Jimmy Jigs, I took a break from the social media process as I was just burned out. After a year and a half hiatus, I got back on Instagram with my charter fishing business. Wow, things have changed. It's kind of crazy out there. Instagram is just crazy now compared to a year and a half ago. It seems everyone is selling some sort of fishing gadget, or everyone's trying to rise above all and be an influencer. It's very overwhelming at times. You know, as I get flooded with new products in the feeds daily, some products look okay and some products look like junk, but the power of the influencer makes them look great. The consumer can get fooled when a high-profile YouTuber or social media influencer tells them it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So what do? I'm going to help you. So I'm going to tell you what I do to sort through all this stuff, and I think I do a pretty darn good job of doing it. So here's what I do before I buy a product that's Insta-famous. I just think that's such a funny word. Insta-famous, oh my gosh. So I always do my homework before buying a product that someone's promoting on social media. First, I watch for the authentic catch rate, consistency, and the owner authenticity. Meaning, can the owner back up his product by catching fish on it? And is he actually using it consistently, or is he relying on an influencer to sell it? Now, I like to see organic sales and influence, meaning that regular fishermen are having success with it. Taking pictures with the product does not count. You should avoid buying products with the influencer holding the product next to the fish laid out on the floor. Now, do not get duped. Do your homework. So I'm just forewarning you. Last spring, I stumbled upon a product called Bait Strips on Instagram. It was created by a young man named Elliot London, who lives in the Pompano Beach area. In Pompano, everybody and their brother pulls bonita strips from planers over sea witches for tunas and wahoo. It's been the standard in that area for years. They are simple baits and they catch fish. So Elliot got tired of carving out the bonito strips, so he created an artificial holographic bonito strip. Now, real bonito strips can make some kick butt bait for trolling, but are extremely time consuming to make. I just don't have time to make bonito strips, guys. I played around with them a few years ago and had some success, but they were just a pain in the butt for me to make. I just didn't have the time. Also, they don't sell them here in the Keys at the bait shops like they do up north. When I say up north, around Pompano Beach and Jupiter, that area, I searched a few years back for some good artificial strips, but I never found them. So brings me to the present day. So I stumbled across Bait Strips on Instagram. I liked the way that Elliot communicated on his Instagram page and how he was marketing the product. And then I closely examined his fish pictures and watched his video snippet. He was very authentic. I could just tell, and I got the feeling just by the way he communicated, the pictures that he took, and he did some really nice videos on the water that were very authentic. Plus, he was not giving out his product to everyone in the social media realm to take a picture with and say how great it is, which is how it works, which means he's very confident in the product. Now, careful when purchasing fishing products that are getting shared around by too many of these influencers. This means the owner is giving away the product way too easily. He's using the influencers to sell products. That can be very good. That can be a very good strategy, but it can only get you so far. The stuff has to work and work consistently. Now, Elliott showed time and time again on his Instagram. He showed videos of him dragging wahoo to the boat using these holographic bonita strips, artificial bonita strips. Now, the seller for me was I learned that Elliott was catching wahoo without wire. He uses a double hook number 7 rig, to be exact. You can check out his website. What was really cool was that he shared some intel. That's a sign of a good businessman in the lure industry, as he wants you to catch more fish on his product because he wants you to buy more product, and that's how it works. Elliott recommended that I order the 8-inch strips, so I did. And I rigged them with the double hooks, just like he said to do. Elliott does like to use 60-pound fluorocarbon leader. I prefer 40-pound. I've always used 40-pound over everything else because I get more bites. Now, I had the tide right and the conditions for wahoo a couple weeks ago, and I had a young man named Ben. He was 13 years old, and he wanted to catch a wahoo. So I had a few of these bait strips already rigged up, and I said, well, let's do it. Let's just give it a shot for a couple hours. So, I didn't need a couple hours. I had the baits in the water for 20 minutes, and I was doubled up with wahoo. So I caught one that was 30 pounds and lost the other. So they worked without a doubt. So my learnings with the bait strips. Now, we have a lot of surface weeds in the Keys right now. So what I found was that the strips would tear after getting pulled through the weeds. I fixed this by doubling the strips. What I did was I laid one over the other to make them more durable before I put them on the hooks. They worked just fine. They lasted a long time. You can pull them for a couple hours. You can pull them through the weeds without them tearing. Now, if you're planning on using them, I would double them up. So just my recommendation, just to make sure they last a little longer if you're pulling fast for wahoo or blackfin tuna. So, and I did catch a couple blackfin tuna on the bait strips, so which was really cool. So, anyways, the action and the holographic reflection is perfect for wahoo in the blue water. Now, I'm going to continue. Now, will I continue using the bait strips? For sure. I'm just going to add them to my arsenal along with everything else. It's always good to have something else in the arsenal when it comes to wahoo fishing. When your old standard isn't working, you need to be able to make a change. Now, visit the Bait Strips website. It's baitstrips.com, and then place a small order with Elliott. He's a good fisherman. Watch for great things from him in the future as he's doing things right when it comes to selling fishing products on Instagram. So the cost savings, there is some cost savings here versus artificial bonita strips versus purchasing fresh bonita strips. For me, making a big supply of strips from fresh bonito would take several hours. I don't have time for this at all. Not to mention fresh bonito strips wash out fast in warm water. If you buy them at a tackle store, a pack of 5 bonita strips is going to cost you around $20. A pack of 8 bait strips is going to cost you around $13. So financially, it makes sense for you to give the bait strips a try. Now, in the future, I'm going to be reviewing a product I've been seeing on Instagram called the Ballyhoop, www.ballyhoop.com. Now, I plan on buying one in the near future and then doing a really good review and then share some insight. Now, the Ballyhoop, I believe, costs around $200. Now, the Ballyhoop is actually a hoop net that folds in half. It's sold as the first foldable hoop net. Now, guys, hoop nets have been around for many years, so it's no secret that they work. There haven't been very many videos on YouTube, or very few people have been talking about it because the guys in the know just didn't want to share the information. So that's why you didn't see this product all over YouTube, because the charter boat captains just didn't want to share that information, nor did the guys that are hardcore bottom fishermen. So there seems to be a lot of influence with selling this product for some reason. But what I don't see are instructional videos on actually how to use the hoop net in tough conditions. All you're seeing are guys that really know how to use the hoop net, put it out in perfect condition, and catch loads of ballyhoo. It's not how it works, so don't get fooled with this product. So there's more to it than just putting the hoop net out and catching the ballyhoo. So sometimes you have to add a float. Sometimes you have to add a little weight. Sometimes you got to put a little bait inside of the hoop net. There's a lot more to it than just sending out the bait, sending out this hoop net and catching ballyhoo. That's one thing I'm not very impressed with, is how the product's being marketed, but it is what it is. What I am impressed with is that it's foldable, and for me, that's awesome because I've running a 24-foot boat. That means I can stick it in a nook, I can put it in the cabin out of the way, and then pull it out and use it when I see some ballyhoo that are tough to get, or if the speedos are there. And one of my clients recently brought a ballyhoop with them aboard a charter with me. I was impressed that the hoop net was foldable, just like advertised, and I was able to store it out of the way very easily. So I put it inside the cabin, and when I was ready to use it, I pulled it out and put it together really quickly and used it. So we caught a few ballyhoo. Conditions were tough, so I had to use a couple tricks that I know to get the ballyhoo into the hoop net. So watch for my in-depth review about the ballyhoop in the near future, as I'm going to tie this into a podcast about how to catch sailfish and what type of bait to use. So it'll be a good one, I promise you. I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks on using the ballyhoop, and how to trick the ballyhoo into it, and also how to catch speedos. The speedos is one of the absolute best bait for catching wahoo, sailfish, and big kingfish in the Florida Keys. Now, I hope this episode shares some tips and details on how to sort through all the mumble jumble out there, on how to sort through all these Insta-famous products that show up in your feeds every day. Also, feel free to use me as a resource. Remember, I may have or may have not tried a product that you're thinking about buying, so I may be able to give you some feedback based on experience, which will help you with your purchase. I really do appreciate you listening, and if you have any feedback, comments, questions, or suggestions, I would like to hear from you. You can find me on Facebook at Good Karma Fishing Charters, or you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. Please also share this podcast with a fellow angler, and check out my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com, and sign up for the monthly newsletter, which will recap this series. Now, most important, just remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.